Pneumococcal vaccination is now recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose. And millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
Tonight, the Bucks are blasting off into Houston to take on the Rockets.
Around a Giannis screen, pocket pass, Giannis with a head full of steam, glides to the rim and lays it in. Bucks by 4.
Our coverage starts at 6 with Bucks shoot-arounds. We are your home for the Milwaukee Bucks. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
It's 11 o'clock. I'm Greg Matzek. This is Wisconsin's Midday News for Tuesday, February 25th. Your top story, a police shooting leaves 1 dead in Fond du Lac.
I'm Jessica Tighe, quitting the Department of Government Efficiency.
Partly cloudy today, some peaks of sun and a high of 47 degrees. Clouds on the increase tonight and a low of 33. It's right now 47 and sunny in downtown Milwaukee. At 11:01 from the WTMJ breaking newsroom, a suspect is dead after a police shooting Monday night in the town of Fond du Lac.
Sheriff's deputies say they made contact with the suspect over the phone initially regarding a felony warrant, then responded to the Woodland Park mobile home community. There, they say the suspect refused to listen to their commands, and after non-lethal force was used, the suspect showed a gun. A deputy then shot the suspect, who later died at a hospital. No officers or members of the public were injured. The deputy involved has been placed on administrative leave, and the State Department of Justice is currently investigating. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
An associate principal at a Whitefish Bay elementary school is facing homicide charges. Cumberland Elementary associate principal Rebecca Solomon is charged with homicide by intoxicated use of a vehicle. The crash happened in December in the town of West Bend. Police say Solomon failed to yield at County Trunk P and County Trunk NN and crashed into another car. The driver of that other vehicle was seriously hurt and died a few days later.
More than 20 civil service workers have quit Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, saying they won't help get rid of a critical public service.
21 staffers at Doge wrote a joint resignation letter saying they swore to serve the American people and uphold their oath to the Constitution across presidential administrations. But they say it is clear that they can no longer honor those commitments. The former staffers also warned that many enlisted by Trump advisor Musk are political ideologues who don't have the necessary skills or experience for the job ahead of them. Allison Keyes, CBS News, Washington.
All previously had senior roles at companies including Google, and they say joined the government out of a sense of duty to public service.
A vote on the House budget plan could come as soon as today, but it faces uncertainty. Some Republican lawmakers are concerned about proposed spending cuts. News Nation's Tom Dempsey.
One Republican lawmaker telling our sister publication, The Hill, that as many as 10 Republicans could be pretty nervous about this vote happening later today. But here's the thing. On one hand, you have President Donald Trump, who's already endorsed this House budget plan, and supporters here on Capitol say it would fulfill campaign promises and address the president's full agenda, including extending the Trump-era tax cuts set to expire at the end of the year. It would also provide about $300 billion additional spending for the border and defense.
The plan calls for up to $2 trillion in spending cuts, along with a debt limit increase.
United Performing Arts Fund hopes to boost fundraising efforts by 16% this year.
The number is $10.7 million.
A launch event this evening will be the first for UPAF's new president and CEO, Amory Scobie-Polachek.
Enjoying performances from the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra. There will be a number from Frankenstein the Musical, which Skylight is putting on, and also a performance by the ballet.
UPAF and your donations, the reason our fine arts in Milwaukee are as fine as they are.
We are the largest United Performing Arts Fund in the nation.
Vince Vitrano, WTMJ News.
And the event is free and open to the public beginning tonight at 5 o'clock at the Skylight Music Theater in the 3rd Ward. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Everything in the red here this morning, with the Dow currently lagging about 40 points at 43,424. NASDAQ off nearly 250 points, just over the 19,000 mark. And the S&P 500 has dipped below 6,000, down 41 points today at 5942. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. It's financial planning at every level. For details, visit AnnexWealth.com.
We're talking hoops and ball next. Sports, traffic, and weather right after this. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 11:04.
This change has leveled us up while being able to maintain the same quality of service that we've always provided, with no upfront fees and 1.9% real estate commission. We're proud to be part of the Century 21 family, so you can move fearlessly with the added confidence of top-of-the-line marketing for maximum home exposure. And that means more eyeballs and the real potential for the highest price for your home. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated. First off, our 1.9% commission structure helps get their foot in the door, and that's why agents like working here. But what they really like is having the strongest marketing tools available, with the resources to help them sell homes at the highest prices to satisfy their clients. Century 21 Benefit Realty offers what agents like most, and that's to help them be successful. If you really want to believe in the business model that you're representing, give me a call. I'm Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty. Call me, and let's talk about your future. Each office is independently owned and operated.
You wake up feeling like you just boxed 12 rounds. Some wake up sweating with sore jaws, headaches, and a lot of our patients complain of brain fog. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula, and these signs, often joined with snoring, are sleep apnea symptoms. And if this sounds like you may have been in a struggle last night between you and this serious disorder. Many people aren't willing to fight back. But the fact is, you can't go through these nightly struggles without ramifications that each night chip away at your life's expiration date. I get it. You don't want to wear a CPAP mask. You may find out you don't need one. We have every effective sleep apnea solution available. And believe me, the mask is the last resort.
It's time to take action to stop your sleep struggle. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary. Most insurance accepted.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. Scouting Combine Week underway in Indianapolis. That's where you'll find Packers GM Brian Gutekunst.
We need to affect the quarterback with 4. We had good moments last year, but it just needs to be more consistent. It needs to be able to control the game, and we need to control the game and finish games off. I'm excited about the guys we have in the room. We'll see if we add to it, but that's got to get better if we're going to accomplish our goals that we want to accomplish in this season.
Brewers continue Cactus League play today against the Guardians. The team signs former infielder Mark Canha to a minor league contract. And the Bucks have won 4 straight games. They will be in Houston tonight. They already are, as a matter of fact. Coverage begins following the 6 o'clock news on WTMJ. And in college basketball, 21st-ranked Marquette takes on Providence at Fiserv Forum for a 6 o'clock tip. Hear the game on 94.5 ESPN. 11th-ranked Wisconsin takes on Washington at the Kohl Center for an 8 o'clock tip. Badger Sports Updates are sponsored by Siding Unlimited. Siding and a whole lot more.
Beep, beep. Let's take a look at those roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. No big crashes to let you know about. Good news there. Just a couple disabled vehicles out of the system. The one I want to let you know about right now, 4394 North at the Plainfield Curve. Got a disabled vehicle out there, and it's a semi. So it's a big one out there. A lot of people slowing down around that curve as they take a peek at what's going on. But other than that, we're looking good.
A pretty nice day here. Partly cloudy, but plenty of sun and a high of 47. Clouds have the increase tonight, however, with a low of 33. Scattered showers on Wednesday with a high of 45. 42 the high on Thursday, 52 the high on Friday. It's 47 and mostly sunny in Milwaukee at 11:08.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios in downtown Milwaukee, it's Wisconsin's Midday News, making stories come to life. Now, here are your hosts, Greg Matzek and Jessica Tighe.
Starting to feel like spring a little bit out here. Some melting going on at the Matzek household. I know it led to some slick road conditions this morning, unfortunately.
A little tricky this morning.
I definitely was. You're in that sort of in-between time where temperatures sort of hover around freezing at the low, but then spike to, 45, 50 degrees. Nice and breezy yesterday. Finally got the dog out for a walk that he didn't really cringe about going on for. It was just overall pleasant day. It felt a little bit like spring.
Yeah, it's nice. I didn't wear a coat to work, so I like that.
Absolutely. Some big stories that we're following here as you settle in at 11:09 on a Tuesday.
And now it's time for 3 Big Things on Wisconsin's Midday News.
Number 1, gas prices are going down. It's getting a bit cheaper to fill up the tank.
A result of steady oil prices and sharp spikes along the West Coast fading, the national average is beginning to look a little bit better for drivers who have to fill up. The Energy Department reporting in the past week the average price of regular unleaded came down 2 cents to $3.13 a gallon. That's about 12 cents less than a year ago at this time. The cheapest gas can be found right now along the Gulf Coast at $2.70 a gallon. Alex Stone, ABC News.
All right, I checked out AAA's numbers for you. Wisconsin's average is well below the national average. The average here in the Badger State is $2.86 a gallon for regular, and it's even lower in Milwaukee County, where it's $2.75 a gallon.
Number 2, for the first time in months, there are tangible signs of life for a development in downtown Milwaukee that could include an 8,000-seat soccer stadium. WTMJ's Adam Roberts is covering the story. This was brought up for the first time in 2023, a little bit into early 2024, and then it's been crickets here, Adam, for quite some time.
Yeah, Greg, and the news this week, largely one of land deeds, grantors, sellers, LLCs, but as you mentioned, it does signal the first momentum on this in many, many months. The land we're talking about 7 acres, 8th in Michigan. It's been sold to a group called MDC Iron District LLC, getting into those minutiae I mentioned before. Now, that's according to the deed I have here from the State Department of Revenue. Sale price over $9 million. That number is a specific number. It refers to the American Rescue Plan grant that the project was given in 2023 by Governor Evers at the time. So yeah, like you mentioned, this has been a long time in the making. Team owner Jim Kazmarek, remember he stood in that open lot 3 years ago, made the declaration.
This particular parcel of land was kept for this very purpose.
Well, fast forward 2.5 years, that land still largely empty to this point.
So what's the timeline that's when we're talking about construction and how about some action? When might we actually see a match?
So the developers, Jessica, are saying they hope to begin construction on the site in early summer. Now, this isn't the first time that has been shifted around a lot over the years. Recall in December, they were saying early spring. Well, that's coming up soon. Now they're saying early summer. Now, Milwaukee Pro Soccer, they have not talked a lot about these developments, but they're still targeting that spring of 2026 for their first match. And that's why the timeline is interesting, because if you take 14 to 16 months to build a stadium at the start of early summer, it'd be ready by August of 26. Well, the first USL match that season would be in March. So some things to figure out.
But movement on that front. WTMJ's Adam Roberts. We appreciate it, Adam. Thank you.
You bet.
Number 3, Starbucks employees affected by company layoffs will be notified by midday today. Your neighborhood barista will not be impacted by the cuts, however. Starbucks is preparing to lay off more than 1,000 workers and make its menu smaller. As ABC's Rebecca Jarvis reports, this is part of the company's objective to address slumping sales and complaints from customers that their orders are taking too long.
It's 1,100 workers that are going to be laid off, people in corporate roles mostly, as the company restructures and shrinks its menu. The move is not going to affect baristas, those people in your cafes, and the changes are part of a larger overhaul at the coffee giant.
13 drinks will be discontinued by March 4th. Checking out the list, the majority of those Frappuccinos. They have all kinds of flavored Frappuccinos. So most of the drinks going away are those, but they're also getting rid of iced matcha lemonade, white hot chocolate, Royal English breakfast latte, and Greg, you've had this one, honey almond milk flat white.
I don't often go with a hot coffee, but on occasion when I do, that was my choice. I thought that was pretty good. The Frappuccinos have received a lot of negative press recently because they're just so grossly unhealthy. It's like a 450-calorie bomb with way too much caffeine and dairy mixed in.
But they are so
they are
good.
tasty.
And they're still going to have plenty of them. They're just getting rid of many of them.
Gina, anything off the list that you are disappointed in that you'll be petitioning to get back on?
My cold brews are safe, so I'm happy.
Okay. All right. Good. Our resident expert, Gina, weighing in. It's 11:14 on WTMJ's Strange Story out of Houston. ABC's Jim Ryan is covering it. We'll have it for you after this.
Whatever you want to call this season, we're over it. Time to look forward to
fly ball, right field. It is deep. It is gone!
Spring training is finally here and back on the radio.
Swing and fly ball, right center field. It is up. It is gone!
Make sure to catch our next spring training broadcast as the Brewers take on the Dodgers Wednesday at 2. No matter the season, we are the home of the Brewers. WTMJ.
Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzek. Want to get you down to Potawatomi Sportsbook. Really, anytime. I'll be there tomorrow for the weekly wager on ESPN Milwaukee. That'll be from 6 to 7. You can pop in anytime. Pop in tonight. All sorts of basketball on that you will enjoy on that 2,000 square foot video wall. Make it your destination to catch all the high-flying action when the calendar flips to March. That's right. You want to be watching the college basketball games in the best place to watch it in the state. That's Potawatomi Sportsbook. You bet. That incredible video wall, sports betting kiosks, which make it convenient and easy. Great drink specials, all sorts of good food popping out of the kitchen. It really is a paradise for sports fans and basketball fans alike. Bet above the rest, only at Potawatomi Sportsbook.
Are you sick of not being your bank's top priority? We are too. At Wintrust, we take a different approach to banking. We're proud to be your one true banking partner focused on your unique financial goals. That's right in your backyard. Whether you're opening your first account, buying a home, planning for the future, or starting a business, we have tailored solutions to get you there. Stop settling and start experiencing a better way to bank at Wintrust.com. Wintrust, different approach, better results. Banking products provided by Wintrust Financial Corp Banks, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Debbie Lazaga here for Kohler Services. If you've been putting off your bath or shower remodel, now's the time to turn to Kohler Services. Family owned for 150 years, Kohler is your Wisconsin manufacturer providing care for life. This month only, get 0 interest financing for 12 months and a free shower door with your Luxtone shower remodel. Visit KohlerServicesWI.com to request your free quote with fast professional installation always included. That's KohlerServicesWI.com.
Well, nice day today. Mostly sunny. Some pops of clouds later in the afternoon, and then cloudy by evening. High of 47 degrees, low of 33. Tomorrow, chance of rain and a high of 46. We stay in the mid-40s here until Friday when we bump up to 52. It's 47 and sunny in Milwaukee at 11:16. Well, very strange story out of Houston, Texas, and the story's being furthered today. The sentencing phase of Benjamin Elliott's murder trial gets underway today in Houston. He was 17 years old and convicted of murdering his sister to death. But the defense is arguing that Elliott was sleepwalking when it all happened 4 years ago. Now he's 21 and back in court today. ABC's Jim Ryan is covering the story in Texas. Morning, Jim.
Good morning, Greg. Yeah, the story continues today with the judge in this case deciding punishment. He'll take testimony today and maybe tomorrow as well, listen to evidence, and then decide whether Benjamin Elliott should go to prison for life. 99 years is the maximum sentence on this, a murder conviction that came Monday. Interesting story and an interesting defense that rarely works. The attorneys for Benjamin Elliott argued that he was asleep, essentially, that he was sleepwalking when he went into his sister's room and stabbed her to death. His twin sister, 17, both of them at the time in 2021 when this happened. The sleepwalking defense has been tried before. It's happened only a couple of times successfully. I think the latest time was in 1992 in Canada somewhere that it was tried and used successfully. Didn't work this time. The jury didn't buy it and convicted Elliott of murder.
Prosecutors argued he was awake and conscious when he killed his sister. What was their evidence?
Data evidence, digital evidence. They got a hold of Elliott's phone, opened it up, looked at the data there, and saw that indeed a few minutes before Megan Elliott was stabbed to death, Ben Elliott was up and moving around and was able, not only did he, pick up his phone and look at it, he also walked around with it, and that was tracked digitally by the phone. He then called 911 on that same phone, and the police showed up. So that was the evidence that the prosecution presented. They didn't try to come up with a motive. The prosecutors don't have to prove motive. They didn't have to say why Ben Elliott would have killed his sister. They only needed to show that he was the one responsible. They also did show that based on that data, that it was a premeditated crime. He had gotten the knife that was used the day before his sister was killed.
And Jim, this has been kicked down the can for like 4 years now. How has the defense been able to do that?
With all sorts of legal maneuvering. At the time, of course, at 17, Elliott was technically not an adult. He wasn't 18 years old yet, so that kind of delayed the process. But then there came further arguments and further delays that the court brought out, and so you're right. It's been put on delay, but put on hold for some time now. But finally, now 4 years after the crime happened, the prosecution has won a conviction here. Now we'll find out what the sentencing is. The maximum, again, 99 years. And this should be an interesting testimony in the defense phase. His parents have been standing behind him. Even since the day of the arrest, they've said that we don't think that Ben could have done this, or that if he did do it, something weird was going on, like sleepwalking.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the parents because I was curious. I mean, we're talking about twins here. What was the relationship between this young man and his twin sister?
They apparently were very close. Ben Elliott was her protector. And so it's a mystery as to why this happened. Sleepwalking or not, why would somebody do this? And so really there hasn't been much said about why this crime might have happened, but the parents are still standing by him. And, they were sitting in court yesterday just stone-faced in disbelief that the conviction was handed down.
Yeah, Jim, you referenced it, but at the time of the killing, he was 17, right? So not an adult, but today, 21 years old, an adult. Does it matter in this case and how he's being tried?
Well, no, it didn't, because the attorneys, the prosecutors, the state was able to successfully argue that he should be tried as an adult. So he was, at that cusp, and so that was part of the delay here, the prosecution arguing that this should be handled as an adult case and not a juvenile crime.
ABC's Jim Ryan following the story in Texas. We appreciate it, Jim. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
See you, Jessica.
Sounds good. 11:21 on WTMJ. Coming up next, might want to add it to your list of spring break destinations. Be prepared for a long flight, however.
Maybe Martians, too.
We'll explain.
Do you have a written financial plan? Hi, I'm Aaron Kowal of Kowal Investment Group. We have recently joined Creative Planning, a national registered investment advisor. This move allows us to provide more comprehensive wealth management services to help with all aspects of your finances, including your investments, taxes, estate plan, and more. At Creative Planning, we understand life is busy, and sometimes important things like retirement planning can fall to the wayside. So I'm here to remind you to take time to plan. A 1-hour complimentary consultation with our fiduciary advisors will help you get started on the path to your dream retirement. We will review your current financial situation, your goals and needs, and help you plan for life's what-ifs. Don't delay planning for your future any longer. And even if you already have a plan, a second opinion from our advisors can help determine if there are adjustments to make. Kowal Investment Group is now Creative Planning. Visit creativeplanning.com to get started. That's creativeplanning.com.
At the Milwaukee Auto Show, we have a vehicle for almost everything. Boat hauling, snow skiing, budget saving, and luxury wanting. The Auto Show has the largest selection of vehicles from different manufacturers all in one place. Shopping for your very first car? This is the place to be. The Auto Show is a must-attend for comparative shopping. At the Milwaukee Auto Show, we have a vehicle for almost everything, and we certainly have a vehicle for your thing. Baird Center, February 22nd through March 2nd. Buy tickets online, no added fees. AutoShowMilwaukee.com.
Grab your to-do list and head to Fleet Farm for Project Days, happening now through the 26th. Carhartt fans get a free $20 gift card with every $100 worth of Carhartt gear. Good on your next Fleet Farm purchase. Sprout Sweet Mix for horses and livestock is just $8.99 a bag. And save $50 on a Milwaukee M18 Compact Brushless Drill Driver Kit, now only $149. And save big on Milwaukee tools during Milwaukee Deal Days, February 20th through the 26th at Fleet Farm.
This is pretty wild. A Chinese rover has found evidence that Mars once had an ocean with sandy beaches. Sounds nice, right? CBS News correspondent Michael Wallace has the details.
Scientists pored over the ground imaging data the rover collected from the northern lowlands of Mars and found subsurface material that's tilted at the same angle Earth's beaches are tilted at, toward the ocean. They say there had to be tides and waves. Beaches are where life started on Earth, where shallow water, air, and land merge. So the theory is maybe some life started at Mars beaches millions of years ago. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Yeah, where there's a beach, there might have well been life.
It kind of explains how Matt Damon was able to grow those potatoes in The Martian.
I don't think I ever saw that movie.
Well, he had to kind of create his own, humidification system, which he was able to do, and it kind of kept the area moist. He grew potatoes and lived because he was stuck in Mars after the lunar capsule collapsed. It's a great movie.
This is really interesting, though. They found evidence for wind, waves, no shortage of sand. So, I mean, a proper vacation-style beach.
I always find it hard to believe that on any other planet aside of Mars, could there be any sort of life, right? You just start to think about where the sun is in relationship to other planets, and it's just impossible if you're that close to the sun to have any semblance of life. Similarly, if you're too far away from the sun, like there's just no way. Like it's going to be way too cold. But you start to get into that Mars range, you start thinking to yourself, could there possibly be life on Mars, ever, at any point, a plant, a something, some functional organism?
When I think about it, when I really sit down and think about it, the universe is just so large. Like, are we really the only people here, the only form of life? It just seems like there's got to be something else.
Well, they're digging up there. It's very dusty, so I'm sure it takes a long time to uncover pretty much anything. But I am with you, and then that gets to the whole larger discussion. Do you believe in aliens or something like that? Well, I guess any living thing on another planet could be construed or described as an alien if it's moving around. Plant life, maybe not so much. Waterways, craters, all that kind of stuff you'd have to dig. But I could see potentially there being something on Mars that you'd run into if you ever did a little family vacation.
I know, and it sounds weird. Like, I would never say, oh, yeah, I believe in aliens, or I believe in these, short Martians walking around with, antennas out of their heads.
Are they green?
That's not me. Yeah, green or blue or whatever. No, but it does just seem like we can't be the only people around, right?
Would you ever do a trip to Mars? If that became something more common in our lifetime, would you have any desire to ever go to Mars or the moon for that matter?
No, I'm happy here on Earth, but I'll let somebody else go. Hopefully we can get a videotape of it, and I'm happy to report on the news.
Okay. I think it's going to become more commonplace for people, ordinary citizens,
Are you gonna go?
to go to Mars. Now, I don't know if it'll be in my lifetime, but I think maybe in my children's lifetime. You'll be able to get a ticket. It'll be expensive, though. Save up your pennies. It's 11:26 on WTMJ. A reminder, the Wisconsin's Midday News podcast is built by Siding Unlimited. Truly siding and a whole lot more. Take us with you wherever you go. Gina always does a great job with our segments, getting them up on the podcast page. They are there immediately, practically. So she does it throughout the show, does a great job with it. So wherever you get your podcasts, you can take the Wisconsin's Midday News program with you each and every day. Scroll back, listen at your leisure, and enjoy us at your own pace. It's Wisconsin's Midday News podcast, built by Siding Unlimited.
Hi, I'm Tony Drake from Drake & Associates. If you're in or near retirement, you're facing one of the biggest financial decisions of your life. When to take Social Security. Should you claim it now or wait for a bigger benefit? The wrong decision could cost you tens of thousands of dollars in lost income. And once you lock in your choice, there's no do-over. The truth is, Social Security is more complicated than most people think. The age you file, your marital status, other income sources, all of it impacts how much you'll receive. And in today's economy, with rising costs and uncertainty about future benefits, you need to make every dollar count. At Drake & Associates, we help hardworking Americans make smart decisions about retirement. Income is just one stop on your retirement-ready roadmap, and we'll help you navigate every turn so you can maximize your benefits and keep more of what you earned. Don't make this decision blindly. Get the facts and a plan today. Text SS to 414-897-9522 to claim your free retirement toolkit and a copy of my book, Get Retirement Ready. Inside, you'll learn strategies to help optimize your Social Security, reduce taxes, and create a retirement income plan that works for you. But don't wait. These resources are only available while supplies last. Secure your future today. Text SS to 414-897-9522. Drake & Associates, helping you retire with confidence.
Drake & Associates LLC is an independent investment advisory firm that offers a variety of different investment vehicles. This commercial is provided for informational purposes only and should not be construed as individual investment advice. Drake & Associates LLC does not provide legal or tax advice. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.
Wisconsin's Morning News is here for you every weekday morning starting at 6 a.m. Vince Petrano.
Nearly $800,000 in funding for school resource officers under court order, now approved by the Milwaukee Public School District.
Eric Bilstad.
Israeli officials say the remains handed over to them by Hamas were not the remains of a hostage.
And traffic with Debbie Lozica.
Volume's starting to pick up a little bit more. We're seeing more delays through the stadium interchange.
The news you need to know. Wisconsin's Morning News on WTMJ.
Approaching 11:30, I'm Greg Matzek, and this is Wisconsin's Midday News for Tuesday, February 25th. Your top story, a fire closes roads in the state's capital.
I'm Jessica Tighe. Charges filed for causing a school bus to flip.
Holding on to a pretty consistent weather pattern here throughout the week, and it's a nice one. If it hasn't melted yet, it's going to throughout this week for sure. After yesterday's high topped in the 50s, today we top out about 47. Good sun here in downtown Milwaukee. Going to be partly cloudy throughout the day. Clouds are expected to increase tonight. We'll have a low of 33. Wednesday, scattered showers. Could have a few wet snowflakes, mainly to the north, and a high of 45. But snow's going to be on the decline here if it's not gone yet.
Many more people walking around in shorts. I've noticed that a lot over the last 2 days.
I did see some runners this morning on my way in who were out in shorts and certainly liking it. 52 your high on Friday. 47 and sunny in Milwaukee at 11:30.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franz. And a vote planned today in the House. GOP House Speaker Mike Johnson will present a resolution he calls a budget blueprint with no cuts specified. For now, the proposal, the first step, he says, in delivering massive cuts and tax breaks for President Trump's agenda. Democrats holding a rally outside the Capitol today. House Leader Hakeem Jeffries says slashing funding and federal jobs will come at a cost to Americans.
Today we stand together as House Democrats with the American people to push back against this reckless Republican budget.
Federal workers against the deep DOGE job layoffs and firings also demonstrating at the Capitol, pushing back against an email calling on workers to list accomplishments in this past week. Blue Origin launched its 10th space tourism mission from its West Texas site this morning, carrying 6 paying passengers on an 11-minute ride into space. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 11:31. Developing story, Atwood Avenue on Madison's northeast side is now shut down due to a fire. Fire crews have closed Atwood between Fair Oaks Avenue and Elmside as they work to contain the roof blaze, which started just before 11 o'clock. Everyone in the building has been evacuated. We'll have more details as they become available.
It's a not guilty plea from the man charged for causing a school bus to flip on its side. 22-year-old Khalid Osman faces second-degree reckless injury and reckless driving causing injury. The crash happened last week near 16th and Wilbur. The 45-year-old bus driver was taken to the hospital for her injuries. No kids were on the bus at the time. Osman admits he was racing another car at the time of the crash, tried to brake, but hit the bus, causing it to flip.
2 teenagers under arrest after fighting near Vel Phillips Memorial High School in Madison. Officers responded about 12:30 Monday afternoon after receiving a call from staff of a fight off school property. Not all those involved in the fight were students at Memorial, but they called when the involved students returned to campus. Madison police say that once they were on site, one student attempted to fight a parent who arrived at the school. 2 16-year-old boys arrested for resisting arrest, disorderly conduct, and trespassing. Both are in the Juvenile Reception Center.
Even during the Pope's illness, work goes on in the Vatican. Marquette Professor Emeritus Father Stephen Ivea tells WTMJ.
There are a number of what we would call cabinet offices. They're called dicasteries over there that handle some of the ordinary and routine dealings of the church. How to deal with foreign relations, how to deal with the clergy, how to deal with various doctrinal issues. And then overseeing that is this Cardinal Secretary of State.
If the Pope were to pass away, the senior cardinal would temporarily take over administrative functions of the church.
Well, Joann Fabrics is now set to close all stores in Wisconsin. The craft store chain originally announced it would shutter 16 locations in the state and 500 across the nation after declaring bankruptcy in January. A press release from Joann says all company assets were sold to GA Group, On Sunday, stores began going out of business sales February 15th.
As Black History Month comes to an end, former Milwaukee Judge Derek Mosley shares a story about a Wisconsin record company.
Founded in 1888 in Port Washington, the Wisconsin Chair Company started out as, you guessed it, a chair manufacturer. When competition increased, the company pivoted to music.
The Wisconsin Chair Company started a record company called Paramount Records, and they located it in Grafton, Wisconsin.
From 1920 to 1923, a quarter of all the blues music in the United States came out of Grafton.
Sun Ra, Blind Lemon Jefferson, Ma Rainey, all traveled to Grafton to cut blues records.
Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
The city of Milwaukee is holding a Black History Month celebration coming up in less than 30 minutes now at noon today at City Hall.
Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News time is 11:34.
Panic strikes as you realize on Wednesday that Thursday is your anniversary. The reservations being secured.
We'll see you at 8.
The gift being purchased. Yeah, you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with early pay up to 2 days early on direct deposits. So even though they call you Last Minute Lisa, we'll make your last minute scrambling a bit easier. You've got this with early pay from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
Julia Fellow here. Hey, are you ready to take the plunge with me? Join us for the Milwaukee Area Special Olympics Wisconsin Polar Plunge, March 1st at the Muskego Park Beach House. Brave souls will dive into icy waters to support local athletes. You can sign up to take the plunge or donate to Special Olympics Wisconsin. For more info and to register, visit plungewi.org or head to specialolympicswisconsin.org. Don't miss the fun and the freezing splash of a lifetime. See you at the Polar Plunge.
We're on the air in 3, 2...
Hey, it's Vince Vitrano. John Mercure here. Wait, does that car say Pella on the side? What's Gina Della doing here?
Sorry, I'm late.
We're on the air in 3, 2...
Recognize my voice? Get used to it.
Talk all things Windows, business, and being a boss in more ways than one with Gina Della from Pella's very own show right here on WTMJ. Starting February 1st, tune into What's the Difference every Saturday morning at 6:30 or stream anytime on WTMJ.com.
What a tease.
Hey, John Mercure here for Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living. Their mission is to transform the culture of care. They specialize in caring for those with early to late stage Alzheimer's or other related dementia symptoms, memory care issues. It's Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living. I've been in their places. I love how they deal with people. It's about compassion and empathy at Azura. Kindness is at their core. 14 locations from the Mississippi to Lake Michigan, 4 here in the Milwaukee area. Wisconsin-based and family-owned. It's about kindness and care. It's Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. Scouting Combine Week in Indianapolis is underway. A goal for Packers GM Brian Gutekunst.
We need to affect the quarterback with 4. You know, we had good moments last year, but it just needs to be more consistent. It needs to be able to control the game, and we need to control the game and finish games off. I'm excited about the guys we have in the room. We'll see if we add to it, but that's got to get better if we're going to accomplish our goals that we want to accomplish in this season.
Meanwhile, the Brewers continue Cactus League play this afternoon against the Guardians. The team signs Mark Canha, former first baseman and DH for the Brewers a couple of years ago. He signed to a minor league deal. We'll get the latest on the Brewers with Dom Cotroneo live from Arizona coming up in just a couple of minutes. And in college basketball, 21st ranked Marquette takes on Providence tonight, a 6 o'clock tip. Hear it on 94.5 ESPN. 11th ranked Wisconsin hosts Washington for an 8 o'clock tip at the Kohl Center. Badger Sports Update sponsored by Siding Unlimited.
Let's get an update on the roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. We do have a new disabled vehicle in Kenosha County, 4194 South at Wisconsin 165. Left shoulder is blocked right now due to a car that's broken down. I see an emergency responder just pulled up to the scene, just got out of the car, is going to check in on the driver. There's also a tow truck already out there, so that's some good news. Hopefully this is cleared quickly. We'll let you know.
Sunny right now. Clouds will be rolling in before too long. High of 47 degrees today. Pleasant day. Mild temperatures. Increasing clouds tonight. A low of 33. Scattered showers possible on Wednesday with a high of 45. 42 the high on Thursday. 52 mild and breezy on Friday. 47 and sunny in Milwaukee at 11:38. So great to hear baseball back on WTMJ over the weekend. Saturday's game broadcast from Arizona. Sunday's was on 94.5 ESPN. Our next broadcast is scheduled for Wednesday afternoon. It is back. Temperatures a little mild here in Wisconsin. Definitely nice in Arizona. It looks like it's been gorgeous there.
Oh, looks stunning. And guess who's down there?
Dom Catronio, our guy, Brewers Extra Innings host, joining us. Dom, what are we disrupting you doing right now?
Trying to find a cloud. I don't think I've seen a cloud for like 4 straight days down here. It's stunningly perfect right now.
That's it. Love it. Hey, I see something new here. For people who like to follow these sorts of things, Pat Murphy has a new number. What's going on?
Yeah, because of Mark Canha's signing, Mark Canha took 21, and Pat Murphy obliged, which was his number in honor of Roberto Clemente. So he's back to his original number when he was first joining the Brewers back when Counsell was hired as number 49. Now, also, reminder, Mark Canha's on a minor league deal, so he needs to earn his way onto the team in order to keep that number 21. But Murph always obliges. It's a player's first organization. And he said, yeah, no problem. It's just a number. We asked him about it. He just kind of scoffed, like, I don't care about what number I'm playing. I mean, cool. He loves Roberto Clemente. That's the reason why he wears 21, but he's totally fine giving it to Mark Canha.
Can that get weird sometimes, though, with certain players? The whole number swapping?
The whole story normally goes is, for instance, in Juan Soto's case, right, when he goes and signs with the New York Mets this past offseason, he wants number 22. That's his iconic number, and there's already a player on the Mets, number 22. So part of the ritual for big leaguers and guys with enough time in the big leagues that can afford this sort of thing is you got to give a gift in order to take the number from a guy that was already there. So in the case of Juan Soto, he gifted Brett Beatty, as his name, a brand new Chevy Tahoe, like a $90,000 car. Some guys will give a Rolex. Some guys will give an Omega. I mean, that's the kind of stuff we're talking about if you're an established big leaguer taking a number of somebody that's already there.
So I've been following your work on social media, which I typically do. If you're not following Dom on X or even through our WTMJ website, you need to do it, and he will bring you right into spring training. And quite literally, right behind the batter's box and in the cage. So you are focused in on a young player. When I say young, I mean young. There's a 17-year-old in camp. I think everybody's just wondering, when is he going to actually get into a game? People are curious.
Exactly. Jesus Midday, or if you just read it in English, it looks like Jesus made. And it's an easy name to remember. Jesus Midday is considered the number one prospect in the Brewers organization, even as a 17-year-old, which is really a wild sentence to say. He turns 18 early this summer. The thing about Midday is he's not technically in big league camp. He is here on a mini camp for the minor leaguers. A handful of them are already here, and then minor league camp will officially open in a week or two here in Phoenix. But Midday is turning heads because, as you saw in that video, he's a switch hitter. He is strong. He is still growing into his frame. He's only played in the Dominican Summer League. This year, they expect to send him probably to Low A Carolina for the entirety of that season. And if he performs there, maybe we see him up in Appleton at some point this season. But holy cow. I mean, if we were talking about this kid, and this is where the distance of language barriers and the Dominican distance and that sort of thing, if this kid was an American high schooler, because that's what he is, he's 17 years old, we're talking about the number 1 overall draft pick, and the Brewers already have him in their system.
Whew, that's nice. I'm going to remember his name like, how was your day? My day was good. My day.
Simply. That's perfectly. I mean, I know I'm going to read the word made now like Midday because I've now trained myself to read Jesus Midday, not Jesus made.
Oh, I love it. Hey, Dom, I know you kind of catch up with a lot of these guys, too, in the clubhouse. What is it like for them? What is the workload like during spring training, and how early are they getting up? How late are they staying?
Well, I'll tell you what, William Contreras told us yesterday of his, quite frankly, psychotic routine that he's arriving here around 6 o'clock in the morning, which is not technically when the clubhouse is open, to get all of his work in before everybody arrives. Now, not everybody is like that, but because you play so many day games in spring training, your workload is a little more compressed into the morning. And for instance, right now, to give you a picture, I'm sitting in the stadium. They're playing a road game today in Goodyear against the Guardians. But for the guys that are not playing in that game, you're here now on the field, getting your work in, getting some batting practice in, and then you're done for the day. So you're here at 8, getting your workout in. Maybe you're doing some meetings, doing some base running, some defense. And then in this case, these guys will be done at 11 o'clock, and they can go spend the rest of their day however they wish because they're not playing in the main game. Most of these guys will be playing in tomorrow's game.
They don't like alarm clocks. I can tell you that, Dom. You know that as well. Alarm clocks, not the fan of Major League Baseball players.
We get to night games. We get a couple of night games this spring, but I tell you what, come like the second week of March, everyone's got bags under their eyes like, okay, I'm ready for the regular season. Let's get back to night games. That's how it feels by that point.
Hey, Dom, so year after year, the Brewers have lost Major League talent and even all-star talent, right, with the likes of Corbin Burns and trading away Jeremy Jeffress. But there's always somebody, there's always a couple of guys, typically, who pop sort of out of nowhere and become an integral part to the team's pitching staff. Is there anybody who did not pitch last year for the Brewers who you're looking at saying, yep, he's going to be a factor this season?
Craig Yoho. I got to watch his changeup firsthand the other day at Salt River Fields, and we're calling it the yo-yo because we nicknamed Devin Williams' changeup as the airbender. Watching Craig Yoho's changeup from behind home plate, I just sit there and like, how does anybody hit ever? Because this thing dances, it's wicked, it's an amazing pitch to see.
Hey, Dom, this is not connected to the Brewers, but the Yankees, and I think you know a little bit about it. What's the deal with the Yankees no longer playing Frank Sinatra's New York, New York?
Oh, you struck a chord with me there, Jess. So I'm lucky enough to work a lot of games at Yankee Stadium for my national duties. And one of the traditions, I think it's really cool, whenever the Yankees win, they play New York, New York by Frank Sinatra, like the most quintessential New York City song. But they also play it after losses, which has bugged a massive portion of baseball fans, especially Yankees fans, too, of like, you're tarnishing New York, New York after we lost 12-0. Like think about it. They lose the World Series last year in Game 5 in tough fashion, and they're playing New York, New York. Like, let's have some feel here. So they're going to change it to be a rotating selection of Old Blue Eyes songs. In my opinion, it should always be That's Life. I mean, that's perfect after a loss, and that's what
cool.
they played down in Tampa. But that's what I would do.
Well, at least they've relaxed their facial hair policy. That helps.
Oh, my God. I mean, I think who might have had something to say about that, but it's finally coming into the 21st century, and I commend Hal Steinbrenner for doing it because they were the only team that did it. I get tradition is cool and everything and that sort of thing, but he said it best, and I know this for a fact, and I'm not saying this is Devin, but I'm saying other players have told me I won't play for the Yankees because I can't keep my beard. I think it's ridiculous.
Oh, my gosh.
Hal finally made the realization, like, okay, if we're going to miss out on a player because of this policy, we need to get rid of the policy.
It seems a little outdated. Dom Catronio covering the Brewers in spring training. They'll take on the Guardians today, and then we've got a broadcast scheduled for tomorrow. Hey, real quick, Dom, another pitcher that I've seen a little bit about, Jacob Mizorowski. I've heard his name for the last couple of years. What do fans need to know about him? Is he at that point where he could sort of crack this staff in some way, shape, or form?
He is probably going to pitch at some point in the 2025 season. I don't know if he's going to break camp with the Brewers. In fact, he's pitching today in Goodyear against the Guardians. And by the way, the Guardians are putting out like an opening day lineup. So he's going to be tested right off the bat. In fact, if folks want to learn more about Jacob Mizorowski, I would encourage them to listen to last night's Brewers Weekly in the Brewers All Access podcast feed. I got 5 Good Minutes with Jacob, tell you a little bit more about him. He is going to pitch, in my imagination, in the big leagues at some point in 2025. What that role will be is to be determined. It all is based on his performance, not only in spring training, but down in AAA Nashville. They consider him a starter, and I'm looking forward to seeing what that could look like for the Brewers.
He's 6'7" and throws 100 miles an hour. That's a good start.
Nice.
That's a good
Not
start.
Bad, right? String bean, too. Baby-faced assassin. I can't wait to watch.
Oh, jeez.
Brewers and Guardians today. Brewers back on the air tomorrow afternoon. Dom Catronio covering the Brewers all month long here in Arizona. We appreciate it, Dom. Thanks so much.
Dom.
Thank you, guys.
11:47 on WTMJ. Always good to talk to Dom. I wonder how he got out to Arizona. Might he have taken a discount airline?
Maybe.
The story coming up.
Save on the best quality furniture and mattresses during the President's Day sale at Ken Michaels Furniture. With major discounts from our premier suppliers, you will save big bucks on top brands like Bradenton Young, made in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains. Bradenton Young is known for its fine quality leather upholstery. Fjords brings you modern Scandinavian design recliners and sofas, ergonomically engineered for more hip and back support. Norwalk, with American roots that go back over 100 years, specializes in making furniture just for you. Choose the piece, style, fabric, or leather you want And in just 35 days, we'll deliver your new sofa, chair, or sectional. In-stock or special orders are all sale priced. Need a little help putting it all together? At Ken Michaels Furniture, our design staff is ready to help you with your purchases. And it's free. Stop in today and save now during the President's Day sale at Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
Academic Mortgage is an equal housing lender, NMLS ID 255368. Thanks for listening to today's show. Hey, if you'd like to get started with a no social security number required refi checkup, a second opinion, or a rock-solid pre-approval to buy, all you have to do is click on the blue button at accunet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
Debbie Lazaga here for Kohler Services. If you've been putting off your bath or shower remodel, now's the time to turn to Kohler Services. Family owned for 150 years, Kohler is your Wisconsin manufacturer providing care for life. This month only, get 0 interest financing for 12 months and a free shower door with your Luxstone shower remodel. Visit KohlerServicesWI.com to request your free quote with fast professional installation always included. That's KohlerServicesWI.com.
Do you know or work with kids who have special healthcare needs? Help them live their best lives. Contact Wisconsin Wayfinder Children's Resource Network. Our specialists will connect you with services in your area. Wisconsin Wayfinder is free and confidential. Call 877-947-2929 or visit dhs.wi.gov/WISCWAY. Connect today. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Beer fans, travel lovers, and history buffs, this is your dream vacation. Join me, Sandy Max, on a 10-day journey through Germany, Austria, and the Czech Republic. We'll enjoy Munich's famous beer halls, sip our way through Salzburg's historic breweries, and discover Vienna's culture and craft beer scene. Then end the tour in Prague, where ancient history meets modern brews. From iconic castles to authentic flavors, grab your passport and let's raise a glass to the ultimate beer adventure. Limited spots available. Book now. Email me, sandy@wtmj.com to learn more.
Following a string of recent incidents, some in the air, some on the ground and on the runway, some flyers are sticking with an oft-ridiculed carrier.
When it comes to airlines, the US has it all, from luxury private jet airlines to, well, the not-so-luxurious ones.
Spirit Airlines updated its dress code following multiple incidents of passengers being kicked off their planes over their attire.
Took a Spirit flight because prices was too good to pass up.
The new rule dictates that guests shall not be permitted to board the aircraft if they are barefoot or inadequately clothed.
The Discount Pioneer filed for bankruptcy in November.
You're trying to tell me they weren't in bankruptcy this entire time?
Examples of the listed inappropriate travel outfits include see-through clothing, exposed breasts, buttocks, or other private parts, as well as lewd, obscene, or offensive clothing and tattoos.
U.S. airline giants like Delta and United saw their stock prices soar last year, but Spirit Airlines was down 90% before it filed for bankruptcy.
I look up, we ain't got no TVs to watch, but hey, it's not looking like too bad of a flight. These seats actually don't look too bad.
Fly me to the moon. Let me play among the stars.
Well, boom, the ultra-budget carrier as much as you want. Tiny seats, you got the delays, baggage fees. Sometimes you get a pilot, sometimes you don't. No TVs.
Yeah, get out of here.
This is the most memed carrier in the country, most polarizing airline in the nation, maybe the world. Anything they do on TikTok gets 100,000 views, but your flight will likely come with a safe landing. Spirit is touting, hey, look at the other guys flipping planes, right? We've had no incidents. You're going to land with us.
Are they really touting that?
Well, those who tend to the social media worlds are saying, yes, it is safe to fly Spirit Airlines. You're going to get a cheap seat. You might not get a TV, but you'll get a safe landing. That's what's buzzing around social media right now.
Probably no snacks either. Not even those little, sometimes you get a little bag of pretzels and like the pretzel is just as big as your fingernail.
Yeah.
That's how tiny they are. But I don't think you get snacks on Spirit. I've never taken Spirit before. I don't know.
I have never flown Spirit either. They are an offering out of Milwaukee. And yes, it is a discount carrier, and you will pay and pay and pay for all the add-ons. Any convenience that you would typically have on a American Airlines or Delta flight, you're going to pay extra for. But your base fare will be very inexpensive. Base fare. If you're just you and a backpack, you don't need a TV, okay, you'll likely save money with Spirit. They do also have a fleet of airplanes made by Airbus. They don't have anything in their fleet made by Boeing. Think about all the issues Boeing has gone through. And there are other carriers like JetBlue that have an Airbus fleet, but that's another thing that Spirit has that I didn't really have to worry about when Boeing was going through their issues.
I like that Colbert clip where he was like, wait, so you're telling me they weren't in bankruptcy this whole
really,
time? Yeah,
right.
this is just like how it is?
Right.
I will tell you, though, even though I have not flown Spirit Airlines myself, I can tell you that one clip is not right. You definitely cannot have exposed breasts while you're flying Spirit Airlines.
Yes, that is accurate. They had to what's amazing is that they had to revise their travel policy in accordance to attire. Because that may or may not have happened.
It is wild, though, what some people wear on planes.
Oh, for sure.
And there are dress codes. I mean, sometimes just people don't need to see that stuff.
Used to be more of a you kind of get dressed up to fly in the airplane kind of thing. Like I used to see people like my dad used to wear a sport coat. I was like, are you kidding me?
I used to dress up decently, like not a suit necessarily, but I would always look nice. I remember seeing a coworker. I ran into her as I was flying out, and she goes, "Oh my gosh, you look so nice, like you're dressed up." And I was like, I don't wear yoga pants on the plane or anything, but I used to. Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a treat.
I'd get too hot. I think I'd get way too warm if I wore a sport coat.
Sometimes it's freezing though on the plane.
Very good point. There's a number of airlines such as Hawaiian Airlines, Qantas. They've never had a fatal plane crash. Others like JetBlue, almost entirely Airbus. And you've got the three biggest airlines, meanwhile, American Airlines, Delta, United. They've got all their loyalty rewards and redeemers. So you pledge loyalty to your favorite airline. Spirit doesn't really have that, right? I don't know if there's a Spirit rewards program. Maybe there is. I think Frontier's got something like that. Not a ton of offerings out of Milwaukee, but you can get to some nice warm weather destinations. I've just never done it. I've never spoken to anybody who said they felt unsafe flying Spirit Airlines. I've just never done it myself.
Yeah, I have taken Frontier. I do remember taking Frontier years ago down to Florida, and it was all about that base price. That sounds so cheap. But then, yeah, every little thing adds up. I think even picking a seat, well, you pick a seat, and then that's going to cost you more. And I thought, well, forget that. I don't need to pick a seat, and I'm not going to be picky.
It didn't start that way with Frontier. They kind of became a discount carrier. Back in the day, I had a Midwest Airlines credit card.
Oh.
But Midwest was, that was class flying in the air.
You got the cookies.
Oh,
you smelled the cookies.
No better airline in Milwaukee than Midwest. Unfortunately, it just couldn't last. Frontier bought them, and Frontier sort of took over. So then I had a Frontier card, and I was traveling a lot for work. I flew Frontier quite a bit. It wasn't a discount airline at that time. Well, then Delta kind of moved in. Now my once Midwest card is a Delta card, so I kind of pledge allegiance to Delta. And Frontier sort of moved into this discount carrier category. But again, I've never felt unsafe on a Frontier flight.
It wasn't that long ago that there was the news that Midwest Express was going to come back to Milwaukee.
Yeah,
and
what happened.
I was skeptical about that to begin with, but there were still murmurings of it. I haven't heard much of it lately. We'll have to check into that.
11:56 on WTMJ. News is coming up.
Much like a satellite that's out of orbit.
I mean, we could put a man on the moon, but we're still basically very stupid.
For the past 4 years, the Rockets' playoff appearances have been dormant.
You see what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, he can build a rocket, but he's still stupid.
The Bucks head to Houston to take on the Rockets.
Kyle Kuzma goes bowling right into Harden. Counter with a foul!
Our Bucks Radio Network game day coverage starts tonight at 6:30. We are the home of the Bucks, WTMJ.
Helping people and families seriously injured in accidents and standing up for victims to take the burden off their shoulders. Greg Matzek here. I want to tell you about Gruber Law Offices. If you've been hurt in an accident, you make a call to Gruber, and they take it from there, focusing on the legal aspect while you focus on healing. Locally known, nationally recognized, making a difference and helping others in the community for almost 40 years. 40 years of excellence at Gruber Law Offices. Family-owned business right here in Milwaukee. And one of the largest personal injury firms in the Midwest. So if you've been hurt in an accident, just make the call to 414-276-6666 or hop online. Visit them at gruber-law.com.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
It's the biggest door in your house. Time to give it the attention it deserves. Vince Vitrano here talking about Lifetime Door Company in Brookfield. Updating your garage door increases the value of your home. It's the first thing people see, and it's the best return for your money on investment. At Lifetime Door, if you have an emergency, they'll come out 7 days a week to service existing garage doors and openers. 5% off any service or install at Lifetime Door Company in Brookfield. Get started now, 262-783-4004, lifetimedoor.net.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
What we've found is that when you have workers who feel valued, you get better results. This is why good people and good culture should matter to anyone looking for an exterior remodeling company they can trust. It's going to be your experience and the end result that gives you peace of mind, because you'll know your work was done by people who care. We realized early on that if we were going to change the reputation of this industry for the better, that finding good workers that you could trust to do great work was going to be the key. We're attracting good people every day because we take care of our people. We want to make sure they feel important because they are. And we're going to make sure you feel important and valued too, with excellent customer service and high quality work. This is Brad Youngluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
As clutch of a player to ever play basketball.
It's Dame time on Season 4 of Behind the Bucks on Bucks Plus.
This year I was like, I need to impose myself more on this team.
Explore Damian Lillard's journey to becoming a top 75 player in NBA history.
That's what really had me feeling like this is going to be great.
Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and H&R benefits consultant. Find Bucks Plus on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and wherever you get podcasts.
Built Right Furniture, Leather, and Mattress.
You gotta get to Built Right today.
Tonight, the Bucks are blasting off into Houston to take on the Rockets.
Around a Giannis screen, pocket pass, Giannis with a head full of steam, glides to the rim and lays it in. Bucks by 4.
Our coverage starts at 6 with Bucks shoot-arounds. We are your home for the Milwaukee Bucks. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
It's 12:01. I'm Greg Matzek. This is Wisconsin's Midday News for Tuesday, February 25th. Your top story, a school administrator faces homicide charges.
I'm Jessica Tighe. Does it have enough votes to pass?
Partly cloudy today. Plenty of sun, however. A high of 47 degrees. Clouds on the increase tonight and a low of 33. It's 48 and sunny in Milwaukee at 12:01 from the WTMJ Breaking Newsroom. An associate principal at Whitefish Bay Elementary School in Whitefish Bay is facing homicide charges. Cumberland Elementary Associate Principal Rebecca Solomon charged with homicide by intoxicated use of a vehicle. The crash happened in December in the town of West Bend. Police say Solomon failed to yield at County Trunk P and County Trunk NN and crashed into another vehicle. The driver of that vehicle was seriously hurt and died a few days later.
A suspect is dead after a police shooting in the town of Fond du Lac. Deputies responded to the Woodland Park mobile home community last night for a person with a felony warrant. The suspect refused to listen to commands, so police first tried a non-lethal weapon to subdue the person. The suspect then pulled out a gun. That's when a second deputy fired, hitting the suspect. The person died at a local hospital. The officer involved has now been placed on administrative leave.
21 employees working from Doge are resigning. These staffers were refusing to dismantle critical public services in a joint resignation letter. News Nation's Kelly Meyer
goes on to say this from the AP, quote, "We swore to serve the American people and uphold our oath to the Constitution across presidential administrations." The 21 staffers wrote this in a joint resignation letter, a copy of which was obtained by the Associated Press. Now, it comes as we are watching for that response to the 5 things each email that was going through to each of these departments and agencies that Musk himself doubled down on overnight, saying that there could be a potential for termination.
The staffers who resigned work for what was known as the United States Digital Service.
House Republicans are hoping to pass a budget resolution later today, but the plan is on shaky ground in a House that's run by a razor-thin GOP majority. ABC's Stephen Portnoy.
In addition to providing for the president's border and energy priorities, the House's budget blueprint would tee up an expansion of the expiring Trump tax cuts. Trouble for Republicans is the pay-for provisions that aim to cut up to $2 trillion from the social safety net programs. Despite formal denials from GOP leadership, many fear that Medicaid would bear the brunt of the cuts. Already 3 Republicans have publicly vowed to vote no on the budget plan, and that's enough to kill it.
President Trump's budget plans include $4.5 trillion in tax breaks and $2 trillion in spending cuts.
Well, the land in downtown Milwaukee, which could someday hold a professional soccer stadium, has been sold to MDC Iron District LLC, marking forward momentum on the project.
In the fall of 2022, team owner Jim Kazmarek stood on this vacant lot at 8th and Michigan and made a promise regarding his new venture into pro soccer.
We will become the next championship level team in the USL.
2.5 years later, the lot is still vacant, with garbage and melting snow the lone tenants. The news this week of a land sale could push the project forward, with developers now targeting a summer groundbreaking ahead of a hopeful first match in 2026. From the Iron District in downtown Milwaukee, Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow has turned things around in the red about an hour ago. It's now about 200 points in the green at 43,664. NASDAQ still off, however, about 173 points in the red at 19,113. S&P 500 off about 20 today at 5967. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite, financial planning at every level. For details, visit annexwealth.com.
Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 12:05.
I haven't had anything to eat for days, and being hungry hurts.
Going without oil changes can destroy your engine, but it doesn't compare to the effect of going without food. That's why the Automobile Dealers Association of Metro Milwaukee is determined to make sure no one goes to bed hungry. Through March 1st, they'll donate $1 from every oil change to Feeding America Eastern Wisconsin. Every dollar provides 3 healthy meals. Over the past 14 years, Adam has donated over $890,000, providing more than 2.6 million meals to people across southeast Wisconsin, the majority being children and seniors. And with today's ongoing challenges, the need is greater than ever. So help the hungry while helping your vehicle. Get your oil changed by Adam Dealer Factory Train Techs at a price as low or lower than independent shops. Visit an Adam member dealer near you.
For a list of participating dealers, visit adamm.com.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for QC Kinetics. You know, I get a lot of questions about QC Kinetics treatments, people asking if they should consider it for their own joint pain. Well, here's how you know. If you answer yes to any of these questions. Is your quality of life impacted by chronic pain in your knees or hips or shoulders or other joints, trouble sleeping or walking? Do you want to avoid surgery, a long recovery, and uncertainty that comes with it? And most importantly, do you miss doing the things you love because joint pain is holding you back? If you answered yes to any of these questions, don't wait. Call now. Call QC Kinetics and ask for your free consultation and learn how the latest advances in regenerative medicine can help you get lasting relief. No drugs, no surgery, no downtime. 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today for your free consultation. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. Packers GM Brian Gutekunst hanging out in Indianapolis this week for the annual Scouting Combine. A goal for the Packers GM for next season?
We need to affect the quarterback with 4. You know, we had good moments last year, but it just needs to be more consistent. It needs to be able to control the game, and we need to control the game and finish games off. I'm excited about the guys we have in the room. We'll see if we add to it, but that's got to get better if we're going to accomplish our goals that we want to accomplish in this season.
Brewers baseball today. Cactus League play continues against the Guardians. Our next broadcast scheduled for Wednesday afternoon. Bucks have won 4 straight. They're in Houston tonight to face the Rockets. Coverage begins following the 6 o'clock news on WTMJ. College basketball, 21st ranked Marquette on the home floor against Providence for a 6 o'clock tip. You can hear that game on 94.5 ESPN. And 11th ranked Wisconsin hosts Washington for an 8 o'clock tip at the Kohl Center. Badger Sports Update, sponsored by Siding Unlimited, siding, and a whole lot more.
Taking a look at the roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. No big crashes to alert you to. We do have a couple disabled vehicles out on the system, including one in Milwaukee County on I-43-94 North at the Plainfield curve. That truck is still out there. Looks like a semi that's off to the road, so people are kind of slowing down just a little bit to take a peek at that. We also have, closer to downtown, I-43 South at 794 East. Right shoulder is blocked there due to a car that's broken down.
Partly cloudy today, a high of 47 degrees. Clouds on the increase tonight and a low of 33. Scattered showers expected on Wednesday. Maybe a few wet snowflakes to the north and a high of 45. Some rain on Thursday and a high of 42. Then partly cloudy, mild and breezy on Friday with a high of 52 degrees. 48 and mostly sunny in Milwaukee at 12:09.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios in downtown Milwaukee, it's Wisconsin's Midday News, making stories come to life. Now, here are your hosts, Greg Matzek and Jessica Tighe.
Tuesday edition of Wisconsin's Midday News. On a roll here with hour number 2 of the program. A reminder that Brewers baseball tomorrow afternoon here on WTMJ. We've got 14 total broadcasts of Cactus League baseball on WTMJ in advance of the season. I'm looking at the calendar here. We're like a month away from opening day.
Wow, it's going to be here before you know it. Always an exciting time. What will Mother Nature bring? That's always interesting.
Well, it's a really good question because the Brewers actually open in New York against the Yankees, and that is an outdoor stadium. So they always build in a day off the day after the opener, just in case you've got, I don't know, snow and sleet in New York, which we have had here in recent memory, but at least you got the dome.
We got the roof.
Why they don't start in Milwaukee for like a 6-game homestand, I don't really get it. But nonetheless, the Brewers begin in New York before coming back to Milwaukee. But first things first, getting through spring training in Arizona. 12:10 on WTMJ. We're tracking some big stories here this afternoon.
It's now at noon on Wisconsin's Midday News.
Americans' view of the nation's economy is a gloomy one. That's the crux of the latest Consumer Confidence Index just out today. The report measures American sentiment about the current economy and their outlook for the next 6 months. So the latest reading shows the largest monthly decline in consumer confidence since August of 2021. That's a big deal. The decline in sentiment crossed all age groups and income levels, reflecting concerns about a slowing economy and rising inflation.
Number 2, first Waffle House and now Denny's.
Peter, that's not a play card. It's a Denny's menu.
Let's run Moons Over My Hammy on 3.
Yeah, that Moons Over My Hammy dish going to cost you a little more. ABC's Alex Stone.
Getting that Moons Over My Hammy or the Grand Slam will cost more. Denny's is now joining the Waffle House and announcing it will have to add a surcharge onto any meal on its menu that includes eggs. Unlike the Waffle House, which is charging 50 cents per egg, Denny's isn't making it a set price, but instead will allow variations market by market and restaurant by restaurant, saying it's trying to navigate the rapidly changing market dynamics. Alex Stone, EBC News.
1,500 locations for the restaurant chain. 1,500 across the country. Not everyone's going to receive this. It'll be market by market. Surcharge might be a little different in some locations than others. Meanwhile, Denny's already in the process of closing more than 150 restaurants by the end of this calendar year.
I mean, those eggs are getting expensive. In fact, stay with us because coming up at 12:35, we are going to key you in on some ways that you can make some yummy meals that you might normally use an egg for in ways that you don't have to just, put all your money out there. You don't have to spend it all at the grocery store. Well, people of Earth, we have good news today. NASA scientists just ran the numbers again, and our cities are safe from a potentially catastrophic asteroid impact. Probably. Here's ABC's Jim Ryan.
The office building size 2024 YR4 previously had an impact probability of 2.3%, which is high compared to the other 37,000 near-Earth asteroids being tracked by NASA. But newer observations suggest a much lower chance, about 1.7%. The 2024 YR4 has our planet in its sights when it passes by on December 22nd, 2032. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Scientists observed the asteroid for 2 months to come to this conclusion. So bottom line, we are likely safe. Thank goodness.
Well, thank goodness indeed. Yeah. Oh, when it gets up to at what point do you worry? 2%, I'm not too worried. I think it got close to 3% for a minute. 20%?
I was actually going to say 7%.
7%.
Only because of how low it has been.
Okay.
If it starts itching up there.
Well, there's a couple things to factor into the probability, right? 7%, but then of that 7%, how do you calculate its potential to hit Milwaukee?
Well,
you know what I mean?
That's a whole other ballgame.
Yeah, that's.
But right now, don't worry, everybody. No need to worry, they say.
Thank goodness. 12:13 on WTMJ. It is a Tech Tuesday. We check in with ABC's Mike Dubusky on the other side.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Chief Anti-Heartbreak Officer Brian Wickert. While national headlines talk about the inventory of homes for sale being a lot higher this year, that's still not the case in most of Wisconsin. The good news is that now, even in winter, AccuNet's experienced loan consultants are already helping many of our pre-approved home shoppers become homeowners and avoid the heartbreak of losing in a multi-offer situation. Sure, you can go with a flimsy, unimaginative bank pre-approval, or you can present your offer with an AccuNet rock-solid, fully verified, and guaranteed pre-approval that also might come with the phrase that really makes sellers happy: no appraisal required. When an appraisal is needed, we can also show you in dollars and cents what it means to willingly pay a certain dollar amount over the appraised value if that's what's needed to win, which is usually a lot less scary than people imagine. Reduce your risk of home shopper heartbreak by getting started with your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval at AccuNet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
You should be listening to Wisconsin's Midday News each weekday from 11 to 1.
Bucks President Peter Feigin joins us live here in the studio right now.
But if you missed us, catch up anytime with Greg Matzek and Jessica Tighe by listening to the Wisconsin's Midday News podcast.
What you're seeing now is like the reality of, playing a season together, kind of, getting to know each other.
Powered by Siding Unlimited, siding, and a whole lot more.
Don't forget, take us with you wherever you go. We'd love to have you with us.
Hey, John Mercure here for Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living. Their mission is to transform the culture of care. They specialize in caring for those with early to late-stage Alzheimer's or other related dementia symptoms, memory care issues. It's Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living. I've been in their places. I love how they deal with people. It's about compassion and empathy at Azura. Kindness is at their core. 14 locations from the Mississippi to Lake Michigan, 4 here in the Milwaukee area. Wisconsin-based and family-owned. It's about kindness and care. It's Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living.
Pretty nice day today. It's 48 degrees and sunny in downtown Milwaukee. We always go by the airport and its official high, and it says the official high is supposed to be 47 today, but nonetheless, you get what I'm getting at. Nice day. Enjoy it. Not too breezy as well. Clouds will roll in later on with a low of 33, 45, and the chance of rain tomorrow, 42 your high on Thursday, up to 52 on Friday. 48 and sunny in Milwaukee at 12:16.
It's Tech Tuesday with ABC News technology reporter Mike Dubusky.
We're not sure if he will be a judge in the upcoming AI beauty pageant, but he is our guest every Tuesday on Tech Tuesday.
The latest and greatest in the world of tech.
Tesla's next product, they call it a robo-taxi. These are AR glasses. They're called simply the Frame.
On Wisconsin's Midday News.
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Domo.
Well, it's Tech Tuesday on a Tuesday edition of Wisconsin's Midday News. Greg and Jessica with you. Happy to be joined by ABC Tech reporter and expert. It's Mike Dubusky. Hey, Mike.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Doing well. So we touched on this a little bit yesterday. I wanted to get your thoughts. Apple announcing a $500 billion investment into AI infrastructure in the United States. This, of course, coming off the heels of Donald Trump's tariff announcements. Apple does a lot of work in China. Looks like they'll be doing a lot more in the U.S.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way. This is a $500 billion investment, and that money is going to go into a couple of different projects. One is physical infrastructure, physical tech infrastructure. Apple is planning on building a new factory in Houston, Texas. We think this is going to be a 250,000 square foot building, and in that factory, they are going to make servers. Now, to zoom out here a little bit, guys, every time you open an app on your phone or you try to run a program on your computer, oftentimes that computer or phone is not actually doing the computing work. It's very intensive sometimes to run some of these programs. They have to offload some of that work to what's called a data center. Data center is basically a big building full of servers, full of computers, that is designed to take some of the pressure off of our devices, given how compute intensive a lot of our programs have become. So Apple's goal here is to build these servers, spin up some data centers across the country, and help their products, their iPhones and their Macs, run the future of Apple Intelligence, which is their sort of branding for their generative artificial intelligence tools. That's the idea. We'll have to see if it works out in the real world. Apple Intelligence has kind of lagged behind competitors from Google and from OpenAI in recent years. This could be a bet that the industry is, one, going to stick around, and two, that they're going to become more competitive in it.
$500 billion is just a huge number, but I guess, when you're the size of Apple, you can throw around numbers like that. There does seem to be some question over how much of the spending is actually new. What do you know about that?
Yeah, it's a good question, right? This factory is actually already in production, right? And they're co-developing this in part with the Taiwanese firm Foxconn, which is going to help them make the servers. So a lot of this stuff is already in place. You are right to say that this is a huge number, a pretty eye-popping number. We also saw a $500 billion investment come from OpenAI a few weeks ago into a similar tech infrastructure project called Project Stargate. That was announced at the White House a few weeks ago. And the political component of this, I think, is important to discuss, right? There is a 10% tariff that the Trump administration imposed on all goods imported from China. That is where Apple makes the iPhone, where they make the Mac, where they make the iPad, and then import to the United States. They are going to continue making those devices there, but there's a way of looking at this from a political angle, saying, Apple's kind of extending an olive branch to the Trump administration, saying, hey, we might not make our products here, we might not make our hardware here, but we've got a lot of infrastructure that we're investing in the United States, maybe with an eye on kind of getting around some of these tariffs and making their lives a little bit easier. Not being subjected to these tariffs, of course, will mean that iPhones and iPads and other Apple devices will remain cheaper for the consumer. So that's another component of this as well. It's just as much a political story as it is a technological one.
Yeah, talking politics, I think President Trump wrote on Truth Social, "Thank you, Tim Cook and Apple."
Yes, and in fact, both Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, and Donald Trump met at the White House last week to discuss these tariffs. And Donald Trump came out of that meeting and said that Apple is moving manufacturing to the U.S., quote, because they don't want to pay tariffs. This is pretty overtly a political move on Apple's part here. And no surprise, right? I mean, this is something that affects huge swaths of various industries, not just the tech industry, but the automotive industry and other manufacturing industries. A lot of manufacturing is global at this point, and the intention of the Trump administration is to move a lot of that manufacturing stateside. We're seeing Apple make overtures towards that, although, as we said, iPhone, iPad, and Mac production is going to continue to go on in China.
So, Mike, I'm trying to wrap my arms around the scale of this project. In January, Microsoft acquired 240 acres in Kenosha to continue its data center project development. That was on top of the nearly 2 square miles they had already purchased, some of that the former Foxconn territory. Foxconn was committed to a large project here in Wisconsin. It amounted to a small project, but paved the way for Microsoft to step in, as they've done. This is upwards of $3.5 billion. Apple is $500 billion. Like, this is just insane to me.
Right. Well, let's just say that this factory is not the only piece of this investment. Apple is also planning on going on a hiring spree. About 20,000 additional workers are expected to join Apple over the course of the next 4 years. Those workers are going to be focused on things like research and development, silicon investing, and artificial intelligence. So there's that piece of it as well, right? This is not just, we're building physical infrastructure here sort of pledge. This is, we're going to put American workers to work, in the future at our company. And that means a lot, right? Like that is something that is overtly an overture to the intentions of the Trump administration to, create jobs and to bring manufacturing back stateside. It is, a concern that many tech companies are facing at this point. You talk to experts who follow this, sort of tech infrastructure topic, and they'll tell you that the OpenAI Project Stargate investment from a few weeks ago, that was all well and good, but OpenAI is a startup, right? They're a relatively new company. Apple is an institution, and the expectation is now that they are pledging this amount of money to these sorts of projects, that the Googles, the Amazons of the world are going to follow suit in pretty short order. I think an interesting question is going to be whether they can match that $500 billion figure.
You mentioned Amazon. Speaking of Amazon, they've got a big event in New York City tomorrow. What are we anticipating?
It is going to be an Alexa event, we think. So this is a hardware event that Amazon has planned here in New York City. Invites to journalists went out a few weeks ago, and if you line up all the different invites next to each other, it spells out the word Alexa. So we can safely assume that this is an event centered around their voice assistant. Interestingly enough, Alexa, despite the fact that it is very well known, it was one of the first movers in the voice assistant space, they've kind of fallen behind competitors, namely Google Assistant, in terms of functionality and ease of use. Amazon says that by infusing Alexa with artificial intelligence, it's going to get a lot smarter. It's going to be a lot easier to use because, of course, AI, large language models, are really good at mimicking human speech to some degree. So instead of talking to your voice assistant with kind of awkward words and phrases, maybe the thing understands you, maybe it doesn't, you're going to be able to talk to it just like we're talking right now in natural language, and it will understand your request. It will understand what you're trying to get out of it. I think it's going to be really interesting, guys, to watch if this live if this event tomorrow has a live demonstration component to it, because as we know, these large language models, they continue to consistently get things wrong, to make things up, and to hallucinate. And that's a risk that Amazon is taking on by adding it to one of their most recognizable products.
Yeah, don't put batteries on your pizza, despite what Alexa says, right? Just stay away from that. Alexa,
double check everything.
I will give it this. Alexa performed better than OK Google and Siri, but it's just lagging behind the likes of Gemini and Copilot and all the other ChatGPTs of the world. Now it feels like it's out of date.
Yeah, and that's, I think, where a lot of the voice assistant industry finds itself, right? It's like they are able to respond to specific things, right? You can play music, you can set timers, you can set reminders, all that sort of thing. With Alexa, you can also kind of order some things on Amazon. But with the sort of emergence of this generative artificial intelligence technology, I think a lot of the people in the voice assistant space are looking at it and seeing a whole slew of new capabilities that they can add to their technologies. Amazon has said that you can now ask Alexa to do multiple things at once, right? You can say, hey, turn on the garage lights, open the garage door, and start my car. Oh, and by the way, turn off the, oven while I'm walking out the door, or make sure that I turned off the oven or something like that. Like, that's kind of the general idea here. Again, the reality might be significantly different. We've seen voice assistants show up in some sort of niche gadgets recently to not so great effect. Apple, for its part, is also planning on infusing AI into Siri, their very, very popular voice assistant, but we haven't seen that in the real world just yet. They haven't actually launched that feature. So it seems like a lot of people are kind of poised to add AI to their voice assistants to create a sort of like Jarvis from the Marvel comics or a Star Trek computer sort of computing experience, but we just haven't seen it in the real world yet. But we might get a look at it tomorrow.
Well, Mike, I can't wait to see what's next. You see what I did there?
That was good.
From the invite? Thank you.
Always good information, fun stuff, fun to keep up with. It's ABC's Mike Dubusky. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Of course, guys. Take care. Bye.
Look what I found.
What is it?
It's a list of the traditional and modern anniversary gifts for each year of marriage.
Sarah and I use a different list. But go ahead and tell us about yours.
The traditional gift for your first anniversary is paper, but the modern gift is a clock.
Well, our list says the first anniversary is always diamond jewelry.
What's your list called?
The People's Choice.
The traditional gift for your 6th anniversary is iron, but the modern gift is wood.
What a coincidence. For the 6th anniversary, our list says diamonds again. What do you have for the 10th anniversary, Rick?
Traditional is aluminum, modern is diamond jewelry.
Well, there you go. Our lists agree. What have you got for the 7th anniversary?
Copper and a desk set.
Nope. Diamonds again.
I'm beginning to see the wisdom of the People's Choice list.
It's good to have you on board.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Did you make up that People's Choice list, or is it real?
Well, we're people, aren't we?
Find the Kesslers nearest you at KesslersDiamonds.com.
Ready to upgrade your home's exterior? Family owned and operated since 1983, J&J Contractors specializes in top quality windows, doors, and siding that enhance your home while increasing its value and energy efficiency. From modern vinyl siding to stylish fiberglass doors, and from double hung windows to sliding glass doors, they have the perfect solutions for your home. Contact them today for a free consultation. Just search online J&J Contractors or call 414-423-9200. J&J Contractors. Welcome home.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement. At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeansitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
Now, about your house. Today, we'll step out onto your deck, where we'll meet Eric Brown, president of Outdoor Living Unlimited, Wisconsin's #1 timber tech and AZEK deck builder. Eric knows decks, so what's with this one, Eric?
Rotting deck boards, missing screws, split lumber are some of the signs your deck is failing. Maybe your deck was never built correctly from the start. I've heard the stories. People who need a new deck come to us all the time explaining their deck is ugly, needs paint. They tell us how they trip on warped boards or are afraid of falling because of loose railings. Sound familiar? They ask us for repair. The reality is they need a new deck, which always leads to that big question: do we repair or do we replace the deck? While we think repairs will be cheaper, the reality is one part of the deck will get repaired while the rest of the deck still fails and still ages and will still need more costly repairs after throwing good money at a big problem. Replacing the deck becomes the real answer. And it makes sense. Starting over allows us to work together in designing what you want. More space, fresh style, creative dimensions. Our composite boards have beautiful colors and styles. Everything to solve the original problem when you said ugly, paint, and warped. Now it's stylish, minimal maintenance, and straight. And you did not have to waste precious time and repair dollars to build the right deck the first time.
Outdoor Living Unlimited is Wisconsin's #1 timber tech and AZEK deck builder. You can get ideas, see pictures and videos, and learn more about Outdoor Living Unlimited on their Instagram page. Go to OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com and see all the services such as decking, pavers, outdoor kitchens, screen rooms, pergolas, even in-ground pools. You can see all of their outside stuff inside at Outdoor Living Unlimited's Outside In showroom in Waukesha.
It's 12:30. I'm Greg Matzek. This is Wisconsin's Midday News for Tuesday, February 25th. Your top story: roads still closed in Madison due to a fire.
I'm Jessica Tighe. Will racing continue in Slinger?
Partly cloudy today, a high of 47 degrees, increasing clouds and a low of 33 tonight, up to 45 on Wednesday. Scattered showers are expected. It's up to 49 here at our studios in downtown Milwaukee. Sun is shining. At 12:31 from the WTMJ breaking newsroom, Atwood Avenue is now reopened on Madison's northeast side after a business fire. Madison crews finished extinguishing a rooftop fire at Kip Corporation. It started just before 11 o'clock this morning. Everyone in the building was evacuated. Firefighters still searching the areas of the roof and ceiling for possible fire extension.
It's a not guilty plea from the man charged for causing a school bus to flip on its side. 22-year-old Khalid Osman faces second-degree reckless injury and reckless driving causing injury. The crash happened last week near 16th and Wilbur. The 45-year-old bus driver was taken to the hospital for her injuries. No kids were on the bus at the time. Osman admits he was racing another car, tried to brake, but hit the bus, causing it to flip.
More anger directed at the Housing Authority of the City of Milwaukee. The embattled organization currently has a vacancy on their board that will be filled either by Lamont Davis or Ramona Ramos. The advocacy group of Common Council says in a letter to Mayor Cavalier Johnson, they're upset the mayor did not nominate one of 4 current Hackham residents to the group recommended to fill the seat. Hackham is also without an executive director following Willie Hines Jr.'s retirement late last year. A new executive director could be hired later this year.
There's a pending sale on the Slinger Super Speedway that would keep racing at the track. Current track owners Todd and Elizabeth Thielen say the buyers are local fans that transitioned into racing themselves. The names of the prospective new owners have not been made public yet. The Thielens say they expect no changes to the upcoming race season.
Well, George Webb's is shuttering its doors. In fact, it did at its Oakland Avenue location last Wednesday. Senior broker of Ogden Real Estate, Michael Testa, tells WTMJ the goal is to fill the space with a more recognizable restaurant chain.
We are looking for a little bit more of a national chain that's going to have some stability within the space rather than a local group. At the same time, looking for something that's going to fit the neighborhood and going to be a benefit for everybody in the area.
George Webb still operates 21 restaurants across the state of Wisconsin.
Today, UPAF, United Performing Arts Fund, will announce an annual fundraising goal of more than $10 million.
We are the largest United Performing Arts Fund in the nation and one of just a handful. Most cities are not fortunate enough to have one organization that raises funds for so many.
The president and CEO of UPAF joined Wisconsin's Morning News. This year's goal is up 16% from the previous year's fundraising.
Brewers taking the field this afternoon, and the Packers GM is on the road. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time is 12:33.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
Restaurant prices are soaring, but not at the Mine Shaft restaurant in Hartford. WTMJ's John Mercure here, one of my favorite places, family-owned for almost 50 years. I took my daughters there. Great memories. It's super affordable, and it's so much fun. Every Tuesday, the authentic Mexican buffet is all you can eat, and it's just $9.99. It's the best Tuesday dining value, $9.99. Kids 5 and under eat free today from that kids menu. They can safely play in the world-class game room, quietly tucked away from the dining area while you finish up your meal. Stop today after school. Check this out. The Wednesday all-you-can-eat fish fry is just $7.99. Whoa! That's crazy. From 2 till 5 today, beers, cocktails, and appetizers are half price. The Mine Shaft in beautiful downtown Hartford and just off Highway 41 in Oshkosh, right near EAA. Walk in today for the Tuesday all-you-can-eat Mexican buffet for under $10. MineShaftRestaurant.com. It's the amazing Mine Shaft.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. Scouting Combine Week is underway in Indianapolis. And what are the goals for Packers GM Brian Gutekunst as it pertains to next season?
We need to affect the quarterback with 4. You know, we had good moments last year, but it just needs to be more consistent. It needs to be able to control the game, and we need to control the game and finish games off. I'm excited about the guys we have in the room. We'll see if we add to it, but that's got to get better if we're going to accomplish our goals that we want to accomplish in this season.
Meanwhile, the Brewers continue Cactus League play this afternoon against the Guardians. Our next broadcast scheduled for Wednesday afternoon. The Bucks have won 4 straight. They're in Houston tonight to face the Rockets. Coverage gets underway following the 6 o'clock news on WTMJ and a big night of college basketball. 21st ranked Marquette takes on Providence at Fiserv Forum. It's a 6 o'clock tip. Hear the game on 94.5 ESPN. 11th ranked Wisconsin hosts Washington for an 8 o'clock tip. Badger Sports Updates presented by Siding Unlimited.
Let's go ahead right now and get you an update on the roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time safer traffic. Just a couple disabled vehicles out in the system. Most are not causing any problems. I do want to let you know about this one that's just kind of hanging out there still. I was kind of hoping it would be cleared at this point, but it's not yet. 4394 North at the Plainfield curve. We've got a semi that's off to the side of the road. Once again, a semi off to the road, I-4394 North at the Plainfield curve. So it's that spot where a lot of times people are either zipping by that curve, going too fast, or slowing down because it's the curve. And right now you've got more people slowing down because that semi is off to the side.
Pretty nice day today. We're up to 49 degrees. Sun is shining in downtown Milwaukee. Listed high is 47. Well, we beat that where we are right now. We'll get an airport reading later today. Overnight low of 33, 45, and rain possible tomorrow. 42 the high on Thursday, 52 the high on Friday. 49 and sunny in Milwaukee, approaching 1238.
We've been talking about the price of eggs, feels like for weeks now. And today again, because you got Denny's in the news with a surge charge now. Well, egg prices have shot up 15% in just the last couple of weeks. At the wholesale level, they're now 96% more expensive than at this time last year. 96%. Some stores, for the consumer, you can't even find eggs right now. In other stores, there are limits on how many cartons you can buy. I know I saw that at the Metro Market I go to. The lack of eggs is due to bird flu. But the good news, you don't have to empty your pockets to keep cooking. The community nutrition manager at Hunger Task Force, Carmen Baldwin, joins us live here in the studio today to share some affordable and easy alternatives to eggs. Thank you for being here. Not a problem, guys. We could use some affordable and easy alternatives. You're going to help us create some tasty, nourishing meals that don't break the bank. People might be thinking about, okay, at this point, they've probably had their lunch or they're going out to lunch, maybe thinking ahead to dinner. Mm-hmm. So let's start there. If we're making something savory first, do you have an alternative if you're making meatloaf?
Yes. So, hard to believe, but mashed potatoes can be used as a binder in those types of savory dishes. And then also, too, you could take it a step further with sweet potatoes. Ooh. It really complements a lot of warm spices, turmeric. If you have any garlic, kind of enhances those flavors. So you don't always have to use eggs because eggs are used as a binder in a lot of recipes. So this is a great way. I haven't heard of any potato shortages.
God, don't speak it into existence, please.
Yeah, definitely not in Wisconsin. A lot of potatoes being grown here. But, it's really interesting because so many people have dietary restrictions for one reason or another. So they're constantly trying to find substitutes for dairy, eggs, you name it.
Right.
It seems like applesauce pops up frequently when it comes to substitutes for things like eggs or even butter.
Yes. So believe it or not, applesauce is a great way to substitute eggs, especially if you are vegan, if you have an egg allergy. Also, with our egg shortage, it's a great way to still get that binding that you're looking for. But the great thing about the applesauce, it doesn't have an off-putting taste. So it's still, whatever dish that you're making is still going to taste the way that you want. The applesauce is not going to overpower the other flavors. So, for example, on our Hunger Task Force website, we have a chickpea cookie dough that incorporates applesauce.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And it's really delish.
That's getting creative. And before you came in, I was talking to Greg about applesauce, and you said, Greg, that you actually tried the whole applesauce instead of eggs with banana bread, and you said it was great.
I thought it was fantastic. I mean, there was a denseness to it that I liked. It didn't dry out at all, which I thought was great. It was kind of a panic move because I was so far down the path. I was like, I got to find my eggs, and we had no eggs, and the oven was preheating. I was like, oh no, what do I do? We had applesauce, and it worked. I thought it was really good.
It works wonders. Same thing to your point about bananas. Bananas, another great way to add a binding agent. And it adds moisture to a lot of dishes, too, for your denser, like cookies and muffins and things like that. So
it's interesting with some of these alternatives because you're talking about potatoes, and I think about, well, instead of putting potatoes in my meatloaf, I think of it as a side.
Right.
Another one that's a side but could be an egg alternative, black beans.
Yes. So speaking of the protein content of eggs, so there's about 6 grams of protein per egg, but a half a cup of black beans actually has 8 grams. So you're getting more protein and the added benefit of fiber. And you're also saving a bunch of dollars by using black beans instead of eggs these days. So it's a great way. It's a great alternative for sure.
We also talk about salads. I think a lot of people like to slice up an egg or even kind of like crumble a little bit of egg on their salad. So that's different. What else could we do that might give us the oomph that we would get from an egg for a salad?
Well, you could always add nuts. You could just go nuts with the salads, right? So you could add pistachios, cashews, sunflower seeds, a great way to add protein to those salads and a different type of flavor and vibe to your salads.
Well, I love the alternative of the banana because bananas, I feel like that's like the cheapest thing at the grocery store, isn't it?
Typically, yeah. I mean, even organic is like under $1 a pound.
Yeah. Okay, I like that tip a lot. Awesome tips. We appreciate it. Hey, as long as we have you here, what's the latest with the nutrition education program over at Hunger Task Force? Because I know you guys are always, number one, trying to help feed those who are hungry, but two, do it in a healthy way. That's so important.
Yes. So right now we are, or next week, we're hosting a community class with the Southwest Suburban Health Department, which is formerly known as the West Allis Health Department, co-hosting that with families from West Allis. We're also implementing our senior nutrition program curriculum. So this is where we've gone out to the community and given direct nutrition education to seniors, and then also coupled that with the stock box. So looking at the ingredients and the foods that are in the stock box and providing healthy and fun recipes to our seniors just to boost their nutritional density in their diets. And then also, too, just expanding people's mindset. So it is Heart Awareness Month, and I've been Heart Health Awareness Month, but I've been speaking a lot about low sodium foods and how to really cut back on the sodium. So the recommendations is 2,300 milligrams per day is the amount that you want to consume. And even for people who are seniors, African Americans, it's even less. It's 1,500 milligrams. So looking and reading those food labels is very crucial to maintaining health these days.
It's always so important, Carmen, to help out an incredible cause like the Hunger Task Force. What items are you most in need of right now for people that, maybe looking to donate? You're always accepting, but what are you most in need of?
We're always in need of non-perishable canned goods. That could be canned fruit that's in 100% juice. Again, low sodium vegetables, whole grain cereals. That provides a lot of fiber and iron to a lot of kids that eat cereal as a breakfast staple for them. Rice, whole grain rice is another staple. But really anything, if you have your, like I said, non-perishable, if you always want to make a donation too, you can really go directly to our website and make a direct donation to Hunger Task Force. So we appreciate all that people give to our organization.
I was checking out the website because I know you're one of the newer faces over at Hunger Task Force. So I was just looking to see, what you do on a day-to-day basis. And this is really cool. You're also doing some interactive cooking demos.
Yes.
Who's involved in that? And obviously, I imagine you're trying to teach people some great recipes that are healthy.
Yes. So we co-host them with different health organizations like the Southwest Suburban Health Department, the Milwaukee Health Department WIC program. Also working with I Have a Dream Foundation and coordinating some classes at Hunger Task Force. So I take great pleasure in serving and providing fun and interactive ways to cook things, and also, too, providing cool and different cooking skills. So different ways to cut things, or maybe a different approach to dinner or lunch. So but stay tuned because, the whole year we have schedule packed throughout the whole summer of good things that we're going to be having at Hunger Task Force. So.
And you guys in your new location, just an awesome location.
Yes.
The old location, a lot of people knew right off of Hawley that you could go down. But the new location is, what is it off of, the new one?
It's 5,000 West Electric Avenue.
Oh, yeah, Electric Avenue. It makes me want to sing that song.
I
know. But that one, I've been inside of it, and I was just helping out for some reports a couple years ago when it was brand new. And the kitchen that you guys have in there is pretty incredible. So is that where you're actually doing some of these classes as well?
Yep, that's our McCarty Education Kitchen. And it's great because it has 6 little booths where families and community members can gather and cook together, and then look in front of the class to see, we sometimes have chefs that lead the class and different people. So you can pay attention, but then also kind of like do your own thing too. So again, it's a great community space, and we also have our Community Engagement Center, which is actually right next to our kitchen, where we host a lot of other nutrition education events too, especially before going into our kitchen. So, and plus we have a huge warehouse. It's enormous back there.
Yeah, it's an incredible new facility. Always doing good work no matter what facility you guys are in. But yeah, the new Hunger Task Force facility is just awesome. Carmen Baldwin, community nutrition educator for Hunger Task Force. Thanks for being here and giving us some easy ways to still make our dinners and lunches that we want, but maybe without the eggs that are so pricey right now or hard to find.
Right.
Awesome. 12:47 is the time.
For over a century, local radio has evolved with the needs of the community. From politics to pop culture, we keep you informed, bringing you the most relevant news, online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzek. If you have a dog and have not yet been to the Hounds and Tap in Menominee Falls, you are missing out. And so is your dog, for that matter. Rely on the Hounds and Tap for grooming services, doggy daycare if you got a long day at work, or even boarding services if you're headed out of town for a couple of days. They'll handle it at the Hounds and Tap. They've got suites available for some of the larger dogs that come through, standard rooms for more of the normal or smaller-sized pups. You're going to enjoy hanging out at the Hounds and Tap. So is your dog. Stop in, really, any night and grab a drink and watch a game. When the weather gets nicer, they'll have a regular rotation of food trucks. It's a really fun way to spend a Sunday. Bring the family out on Family Day with the dog, grab some food, watch a game, enjoy the sun, and enjoy dogs enjoying each other at the Hounds and Tap. Nothing like it here in southeastern Wisconsin or beyond. 12,000 square feet facility and designed for dogs. Not a retrofit. This is specific for dogs, and humans going to have a lot of fun too. Check out their Facebook page, see the happy pups going through the doggy daycare or boarding, and get yourself and your dog registered and set up. Visit thehoundsandtap.com.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural hair products from New Nordic. Purchase at newnordicusa.com or CVS.
When you breathe well, you live better. Find out more at adventknows.com.
I'm WTMJ's Sandy Max. What makes senior living at Three Pillars so special? Let's hear from Three Pillars resident Lola.
I had seen a lot of retirement places. In a minute, I drove into the driveway coming into Three Pillars. I was sold. The grounds are just beautiful. The management are just incredibly kind people. That mood permeates the atmosphere to me, whether it's the staff, the people that's serving in the restaurant, and the residents themselves. It's just a lot of caring, kind people.
Schedule a tour today at threepillars.org.
I've always believed that great service makes all the difference. At Waterstone Bank, it's more than just banking. It's personal. When I needed help choosing an account, my banker took the time to understand my needs and guided me through my options. Thanks to her advice, I can watch my money grow, knowing it's secure.
Welcome to your Waterstone Bank, where community and personal service come together. Member FDIC.
At Kendor Marine, we have everything you need but the water. For over 50 years, boaters have found that to be true. Because when they've needed that old part they thought they'd never find, guess what? They found it here, along with everything else you need to keep your boat out there on the water. This is Dave Doro, and boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey boaters, cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water.
KendorMarine.com.
Hey boaters!
Well, if you have an old boat, new boat, or in between, then Kendor Marine is a great place for you to shop. Because not only do we have all the parts and accessories you need for almost any kind of boat, we also have the expert advice that just about any boater is one day gonna need. I'm Dave Doro, and boaters in the know exactly where to go. Kendor Marine, 57th and Ryan Road in Franklin.
Hey boaters, cruise to Kendor Marine. We got everything you need but the water.
KendorMarine.com.
Nice day today. Get out and enjoy it. Sun is shining, about 50 degrees. Overnight low 33. Clouds will roll in. Might see some rain tomorrow with a high of 45. Could continue into Thursday with a high of 42. And Sundays, or I should say Friday's high, 52 degrees under breezy conditions. It is 49 and sunny in Milwaukee at 12:51.
Another scary incident on an airplane. A flight from Atlanta had to turn back when smoke filled the cabin. The FAA is now investigating. CBS transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve has a story.
Ladies and gentlemen, please breathe through your clothing. Stay low.
Minutes after taking off from Atlanta, inside Delta Flight 876 Monday morning, the Boeing 717 filling with smoke.
Got smoke in the cabin and need to plan a return back.
On board, 94 passengers and 5 crew heading to Columbia, South Carolina.
I was thinking, okay, we're going to go down. I'm not going to make it home to my 5-month-old.
Kristen Chapman, her sister and father, were coming home from Florida.
How good did it feel to get home and hug your little one?
I literally got out the car and ran in, and I just picked him up and started crying and kissing him because I remember screaming, I just want to get home to my son.
Need the fire trucks. We got smoke in the cabin.
The pilots made an emergency landing in Atlanta just 11 minutes after taking off. The passengers evacuating on exit slides.
The fact is any one particular event like this is one too many.
Former NTSB chair Robert Sumwalt.
Should the oxygen masks have been deployed to the cabin?
Absolutely not. And that's a fallacy right there. The traveling public does not need those oxygen masks because those masks are not designed for a smoke event.
And then on Saturday, there was another flight bound for Sydney, Australia that returned to L.A. after the airline says smoke was detected in the area where, the flight attendants are getting the food and the beverages ready, all that kind of stuff. So this is interesting. Greg, you were kind of asking me whether my husband took note of this. And I said, we didn't really talk about this one. And when I first saw smoke on the plane, this one didn't excite me. I mean, not in a good way, but it didn't make me go, oh, gosh. Of course, some of these other ones where the plane basically has this hard landing and flips over. Yeah, that one definitely did. But I've definitely heard of this before, but it did get me to ask my husband, who works in the airlines, how often he has encountered smoke on a plane. So I called him up real quick, and he said there was this one time he was flying into Denver. It was his first job. So this is a long time ago. But all of a sudden, they did have the plane filled up with electrical smoke. And he said it was very irritating to the eyes and to the nose. And they, put on their masks. They landed in Denver, and they pulled right up to this airport fire station, basically. It was a smaller plane. This is his first job, so small plane. They opened the door, so fresh air came in, and, everything was okay. But this got us talking a little bit about the masks. And you heard in that story where the man said, no, the passengers did not need the mask. This is what I found interesting because I didn't really know that much about the masks. Well, the passengers and the pilots in the cockpit have very different masks. So the passengers, in this case, when you've got smoke and you think there might be a fire, well, you don't want that because those are just supplying oxygen. And so for a fire, you don't want that oxygen to fuel a possible fire, right? But, and this is what I didn't know, the pilots in the cockpit, they have different masks. So their masks, it's forced air, just blasts air at the face, and they last longer. I don't know exactly how long the passenger mask lasts. He kind of mentioned possibly 12 minutes, but I don't know that for sure. But the bottom line is the mask for the pilots, which makes sense, of course, last longer, and they're different.
I'm surprised you didn't take note of it in a more significant way. I mean, I did. I look at it and, holy smokes, what is going on here? Pardon the pun.
Yeah.
Smoke on an airplane when the plane is off the ground does not seem like a good thing at any point.
No, it's not.
Right? And to see that amount of haze sort of building up, it reminded me of just sort of the issues that we had with our air quality last summer. And, boy, you just didn't want to be outside. It was irritating. But at least you could go inside. You're on an airplane, there's nowhere to go. There is absolutely nowhere to go. And I would imagine the concern level grows pretty high when you have smoke, haze, whatever it might be.
Sure.
Just you don't know where it's coming from. Is it going to get worse before it gets better? That's got to be a frightening situation. If you're on the ground, scary enough. But if you're in the air?
Oh, yeah. If you're a passenger on that plane, yeah, I'm very concerned, without a doubt. I just, we've seen videos, too, where all of a sudden it looks like the plane is filling up with smoke, and it's not really. It has to do with the air and the temperature outside and the temperature inside. And a lot of people are like, oh, my gosh, there's all this smoke, and it's not actually smoke. It's just kind of like a misty air.
Yeah, it's like your humidifier at home, right?
Yeah, it's different. So, yeah, I mean, you never want anything bad to happen, right? Of course. But and I'd be concerned if I was on that plane.
Yeah, very interesting. 12:56 here on WTMJ. News coming up, followed by Spanning the State. Jessica and I will be back tomorrow.
On Wisconsin's Morning News, we profiled the average John or Jane Doe who had no idea when they got up one morning that they'd be saving a life, becoming everyday heroes.
Ryan Lathrop, school bus driver, coming his way, a semi-truck in the other